Welcome to our weekly New Gambia platform talk show. Today is October 2nd, 2022. And today we're going to be talking about the political situation in the Gambia. What are the political dynamics and the upcoming elections, local office elections, and so forth. So I have my co-partner here, Famara from Maryland, Washington. Famara, welcome.
Thank you, Savani.
And Sam Sisio will join us shortly. Yeah, Famara, so let's jump right into it, discussion about the political atmosphere in the Gambia right now. We have seen a recent march, CA and NPP, which kind of came to a surprise to everyone. So, yeah, what are your takes on that? And then what do you think that would make? What difference would that make coming April local election?
All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mr. Savani, thank you so much once again for another week, another good topic for the Gambia political situation. And I'm saying hello to everybody, the viewers, and those going to listen to it later in the form of audio. So we welcome you again to our weekly program on New Gambia platform. So thank you so much, Mr. Sawane. It's becoming interesting. We just came out of the presidential elections. We think probably politics will die down a little bit. People can focus on development issues, but we have seen that it is getting more interesting every day. So yeah, so the political situation is definitely getting interesting in Gambia. From last week when the president returned back from New York, we have seen all the dramas that happened. And when the president came back home too, the interview he had at the airport and also at the State House, we have seen all that. And then yet again, we have seen the president went back to Mali, to join the Ghana president, then talk to the military leader in Mali about democratic process, and that is a follow-up visit, follow-up to the visit that was done in New York. So right now, in the Gambia, as we're getting closer to the local government elections, early next year or mid next year, I think it was around April, May, something like that. So it's getting interesting. And then one of the things that we saw yesterday was Citizen Alliance forming partnership with the National People's Party. That's the president's party. And then, of course, at the press conference, we hear that, in fact, before the press conference, or when the meeting was about to start, we already hear that Dr. has already cross-carpeted or joined NPP. But he made that very clear after the meeting at the press conference that he did not join. But all they're trying to do is Citizen Alliance is trying to work with the government of the day, because the president is the president that has been elected by the Gambia. He is the president. He is the sitting president. So therefore, Citizen Alliance is forming a partnership, to work with the president, to help him achieve his development, agendas. Since they have, they said they already have their manifesto, and the MPP has their manifesto. They both sold their manifestos during presidential campaign, but people decided to go for NPP. So therefore, they don't want to sit on their information. They don't want to sit on their ideas. So therefore, they want to form a partnership. Thereby, they can work with the president and the NPP, just to make sure to move the country forward, because this should be beyond party politics. It should be something that, people of the Gambia should embrace, work together as political parties, and everybody should put our hands there. I think these are some of the justifications Dr. Cisse highlighted, during the press conference, but a lot of people have also speculated, even during the election time, that the CA or Dr. Cisse was on the verge of, going to NPP or even accepted vehicles from NPP, and all of those speculations have been happening. And we have seen that some of those informations have been debunked, And then now, everything is coming on the light. So this is the interesting stuff going on right now, Sawane.
Yeah. So what is your take on the fact that, like Dr. Cisse CA, most people have already, most of the high top folks have already resigned. Like what's this guy named
Mr. Mendy, Dominic.
Dominic Mending, and another lady.
Nene.
Nene,
Okay,
yeah.
did actually Nene, did he resign? I'm not aware of that.
Okay. So
I'm not aware whether he resigned.
but we know that they have lost some folks.
Oh, there's some folks, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I know that of Dominic, obviously. Yeah, it is rather unfortunate because CEA is one of those promising political parties that emerged shortly before the elections, 2021 elections. And then having a young and dynamic political scientist like Dr. Cisse heading that political party, it has given a lot of hopes to young people, many Gambians, that now we need to have a political party that's going to be led by young people, by the people who are really fresh in the political arena in terms of leadership. What I mean, so when CA came, I mean, definitely the hopes were very, very high. People's hopes were very high, and that we're going to have new political parties different from the ones that we already know that have been existing for many years. Trying to uproot the incumbent for many years. So, and when Citizen Alliance came in, I mean, they presented a very strong manifesto. We have seen the 10-point agenda that they presented to the people. And when Dr. Cisse came to this platform, I think we discussed some of those 10 points. And it's very, very important because those points are very, very important because they're talking about fisheries, they're talking about, environment, they're talking about women, health, education, how to improve all those key sectors of our economy. So it was very, very, it was a promising political party that was emerging up, and then people have hope, honestly. So to see these recent events happening within the political party itself, shortly before the election and even after the elections, is rather unfortunate because you do not expect a newly political party to go down that very quick, even though they're still strong. But I mean, the founding people, the people who are part of this, initiative, wonderful job and effort to set up these political parties, decide to, separate themselves within a year or two, so it's so quick, definitely. So I don't know, it's a challenge for, like Dr. Cisse said in his, I think one of the journalists asked Dr. Cisse about that yesterday, but he says CA is an institution that is here to stay, and then people can go and come, but the institution is still here. So what they are there for is to serve the interests of the political party. Just like he said the interest of the party, the interest of the country, and the individual interest. Those are the three interests that Dr. highlighted are the main reasons why a political party exists. So in short, what he was saying, that people can go and come, but the party is here to stay, and they will continue to do what they think they can do for our country. Yeah, but it's rather unfortunate to see some of the hardworking or the founding fathers, especially Mr. Mendy, Dominic Mendy, not with the party right now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it speaks volumes. Already we have seen also a lot of accusations that Doctor had campaigned for Barrow during presidential election, and he was given a vehicle, and this allegation coming out. I mean, that would undermine, don't you think that would undermine the leadership of the party?
Of course, yes, because always people look at what Dr. Cisse said, the remarks he made about the president, even before, he was he was appointed or selected as a flag bearer for the party. when he was just a political analysis and then also interested in political issues and Gambian, contemporary issues. We heard some of the remarks he made about the president that he's clueless and then he don't have the pedigree to rule the country. And then, all of a sudden, you see him working with the same person. So that kind of reflected on people's mind. Why did he say this in the instance? And then you come back and do that. What is the sudden change? What did you see that impressed you, now than before? So these are some of the questions people keep asking. But Dr. Like he said in the press conference was for the fact that he see the country first and that, and we need to join hands together and help the president to move the country. So that's his justification of joining the NPP. But he also mentioned about the local government elections coming up. So
Right.
whether this partnership is also about either CA filing or Dr. Sise, trying to stand for either, to run for any of these positions in local government, we don't know. But in the press conference, that was also highlighted in the upcoming local elections. So either whether they're going to help the NPP or the NPP is going to help the CA, nobody knows yet. But I think as time goes along, everything will come to light. But the issue of receiving the vehicles, that was something that was rumored shortly before the presidential elections when CA's petition, was kind of rejected when they failed to meet the required number of the nomination process in Banjul. We heard that the IEC actually did not accept their nomination because they fell short of the number of people they needed on the nomination form. So
Right.
CA petitioned that to the court, and then later, they did not win on that petition, and then subsequently, Doctor could not stand for the presidential elections. Now he was in that fence whether to join the other political parties or oppositions, or to either stay away from the election altogether, or not, or to be neutral, like not be on any side. But there was rumor that he was helping out, Barrow, and that's why he was given a vehicle, to do some political campaign. I think those rumors were coming up, and then I think at some point it was debunked. But later we just, a lot of stories started coming up, facts coming up, what CS involvement or Dr. Caesar's involvement was in terms of helping President Barrow. So this was something, very interesting story as well. But we have seen also, even before the nomination process was completed, we have seen CA also making effort to form coalition with parties like PDOIS, which never materialized, with two other political parties. What is the other new political party? NUD, is it NUD, Mr. Jammeh's political party? NUP, National Union Party, right? Or Unity Party. Yeah. I mean, those ones did not obviously attend the coalition meeting, but those efforts have also been made by CA, that they're trying to see how other political parties could come together, and then form a partnership or coalition, before the presidential elections. So a whole lot of things have been going on, and then I think slowly, the facts are coming out. So we'll get to know more as the local government elections are getting closer.
Okay. Yeah. So what you just said about during the time that Dr. Sise was accusing Barrow of don't have the capacity and the knowledge, the education. I guess what had transpired within the last few years is that he didn't. Doctor himself doesn't have the capacity. I mean, that's what he realized, because failing to make nomination is a big deal. You cannot say that you made a mistake. If you have, let's say they asked for 2,000, if you have 10,000 people, it doesn't matter how many people they disqualified, you still will be able to contest.
Right.
I'm sure UDP would not run into that situation, and then of course MPP would not, because they have so many people that they can nominate. So the fact that they didn't make the nomination speaks volume. Yeah. Right? And also the fact that he would come during the election and align himself, that rumors align himself with MPP, will also speaks a volume, because at that time nobody expected anything, but behind closed doors he was accused of supporting Barrow's government, Barrow's bid for the state house, and even getting a vehicle. So he denied the rumors, but the fact that it even come to that point also speaks volume.
Right.
So I mean, looking at all that, and then no matter how mad he might be towards UDP, which he said somebody in UDP was responsible for their disqualification, or that person supports UDP and so forth. With all that, the fact that you yourself said this person doesn't have what it takes, and you turn your weight behind slowly, and people are accusing it, and finally you said that you're making an alliance. Many people are thinking, maybe there's a job opportunity here for the CA leadership, or there is potentially some kind of a deal on the table. So what do you think?
Yeah, I'll start with the nomination process, why CA failed. And I don't think this is only CA, because it also happened to the Gambia Moral Congress, GMC, And I mean, partly it's not their fault, because the people that sign nomination forms for political parties, sometimes those names are duplicated. They can be the same person that signed for UDP, might be the same person who signed for the other political parties. So you don't know that until the whole forms get into IEC. So the IEC will consider, the first political party you signed a nomination for. And I also remember the political parties, they all have a different time, timetable to come for nomination. So if one person in Banjul signed for more than one political party, and then first political party that went for nomination, and your name appear on that political party form nomination forms, if the second political party come where you sign, it's going to be a duplication of effort. So obviously, the IEC realized that this particular person's name has already appeared somewhere else. So that means that it will be off your list for the second political party who registered the same person or used the person's name on his nomination form. So you'll see that it doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't bring the enough number that you are required. You might have enough number, but for the fact that there may be 10 people on your list or 5 people on your list, or even if it is one person, say bring 200 people, all right? And then you bring 200 people on your nomination form, but out of that 200, you find that at least 5 or 10 people are already registered on another nomination form of another political party. So if those 10 people are scrapped from your list, then obviously you did not meet the requirement, And it doesn't mean that you did not fill all that portion, but you did all what you're supposed to do. But for the fact that one person or 2 persons registered, elsewhere, and then those political parties happen to reach at the nomination at IEC before you, so automatically your number have reduced. I think that's one of the reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you have more people,
yes,
right? You have way more people that you registered. Would that still be a problem?
Well, if you have more people, I don't know how IEC do that, but if they say bring 200 and you bring more than 200, well, if one person is duplicated somewhere else, I think the other list should be considered. The other extra people that are included in the nomination form, 1 or 2 persons should be able to replace the one that is not qualified. But again, I don't know how IEC does that. But that's why it's always to be on the safe side. If they ask for 200, bring more than 200. That way, if there is another person that is registered a couple of times somewhere else, at least you have additional ones that you can replace them with. So I don't know how IEC do that. I think that's one of the mistakes that they've got. And even my party also have the same issue. So I think it's a lesson learned from that point, because it was really disappointing. the CA was really frustrated about that after all what they have gone through and with all the campaign. And we have seen CA actually reach out to, all the corners of the Gambia, across the country. They went on caravan tour, talking to communities everywhere. They have visited farmers, they have visited fishermen, they have gone to the vegetable gardens, they've gone to different places, they have visited fire victims. We have seen a lot of disasters, and even this COVID-19 that passed, they have actually donated a lot of items and then participated in many COVID-19 awareness and then food distribution in the country. So even though their time of coming to the political space in the Gambia was really short, or they just emerged very newly, but people were really appreciative of what they do, and then it was becoming a household name in the country, for the fact that they were able to get a lot of people to fill those nomination songs for them. So that shows that the people, especially the young people, the university students, the youths that Dr. inspire, at the university level, who went through him in his political science class, were all among them. And we have seen some of them who stand for CA in the last parliamentary elections, were some of those students that passed through him at the university. So the confidence level was there. And then people have so much hope in CA. So they are putting a lot of efforts. And we have seen Dr. also resign, from his job in university, and then also giving up his student Swedish citizenship. So all of those sacrifices that he did, because he has confidence that, people will, vote for CA. So coming to the nomination and then fall short, was really disappointed. And they have taken the court case, and it was very hopeful that it was going to be before the elections, but it never materialized. So that left Doctor in a funny situation. You've lost your job, you've given up your Swedish citizenship, and you came to fall short of nomination, could not make it to the presidential elections. Now that led them to in a dilemma. Where do we go from here? Knowing that the election is coming, and then we have to wait for another 5 years to come before the next election. And this is a newly formed party, with not the quiet support. The support base was not that much. And then also maybe financially, they are not that very strong yet, to even start doing certain things at the regional level, So it's a young party. So that put them all in funny situation right now. So, I believe that's prompted them to look at what other options can we do, to keep this party going so it doesn't die quickly, whilst we are learning from our mistakes. And I think one of the reasons why they form partnership with the ruling party or the president's party, then that way, at least they will become a little bit relevant. They will be getting involved in the decision-making process. They will be part of the campaign. They will be part of the strategies to help both parties, because it's going to be, symbiotic relationship. You help me, I help you. So that way, you never know. NPP can also, offer CA, an opportunity, just to put their head above the water. They could support them just like they see in the other side of APRC that supported the alliance. Now, Fabakary is the deputy speaker. Sidinjai, of course, yes, he was part of APRC, but joined NPP, now the deputy speaker. And then you have now Fatoumata Tambajang and others as well. So this could all be a strategy of helping the NPP, but also keeping the CA alive. Yeah.
Okay. So you think there is a little bit of everything, something for everyone?
Oh yes. It will not just be one-sided, but we cannot just tell what it is. You never know. Doctor could be appointed position somewhere else outside the country or inside the country. You never know. But also, you could be given the chance too. Like some people are speculating, maybe he might even run for the chairmanship for Brikama Area Council. For the fact that he's a Kombonka, he's from that region, he's from Brikama. So there's nobody qualified than him to do that. And now we also have Ahmed Gite coming out from NPP. So all of those, nobody knows what's going to happen. So that's all could be one of the reasons. It could be a strategic, planning, in terms of, how to, control the Brikama Area Council. So nobody knows until we get closer. So all we can do now is speculate why we will see a join at this last minute at the NPP, knowing for the fact that the president agenda was still the same and nothing has happened much, or much have not happened in the last 5 years or 6 years, when he was accusing President Barrow's government of not, doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah. So interesting.
Interesting. So interesting.
Yeah.
So now, you think, do you think CA is done? I mean, like, is done in terms of, coming back as a political party? Because if you look at APRC, similarly, that's what had happened. Some people might not agree within the party to go with the president, in coalition with the president or alliance with the president. So those people will find other political parties or maybe form their own. So do we think we're going to see that in CA, or basically CA has already dispersed, being that Dominic and other people left?
Yeah, I mean, the strength, the power, and the strength that they started with, they emerged when they emerged, the strength and then coordination they have, or they had in the beginning, has dropped a little bit. But that doesn't mean that the party is dead. The confidence level that people had in them, in the leadership, before the presidential election and now, if you would compare it, you will see that probably it will drop at some point, at some degree. The support base will be reduced because, like I said, people have so much confidence when CA emerge, and then we have seen, the leadership there, both the party leadership, Dr. himself, and coming to Nene, they were very vocal. They were on the social media, reacting on the issues, debating politically, and what CA's agenda, the main agenda, because that's more important. When a political party is formed, what most people look at is your agenda. And like I said, they have a very strong 10 points agenda. And that agenda definitely, cuts across all key sectors of our economy, which obviously, if they come to power and they have the opportunity to implement those points, then it will take Gambia forward. You understand? But now, that's why with all these integrity issues being accused of joining the MPP, and it was debunked, or we're saying it was not happening, and then now you see it happen, then obviously some people's confidence will die down a little bit in terms of the party, in terms of the party leadership, So, I mean, obviously people will be a little bit disappointed. I'm pretty sure about that, even internally among themselves with the party supporters. But, let's see how it goes. That's politics. People, like Dr. himself said, people go and come, but the party stays. So let's see what is going to happen.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
When they are pinned down, they will tell you that the party stays, but nobody likes to lose people. I mean,
obviously nobody, no political party will like.
That is not something.
Especially a new political party like the CA.
So that is out of desperation to say stuff like that.
Yeah. So they need a lot of work to do now to bring people back and to justify more.
Exactly.
To justify more, not just like saying, I want to help the president build the country. Yes, you can help the president build the country without necessarily joining.
But where were you last 5 years?
Exactly. I mean,
just like what the president said, where were you?
Exactly. Yeah, we could have joined the last 5 years ago, or you could have even said,
when the coalition was happening. I think that's the best time to join the president because everybody came together at the time.
Yeah. And that was the reason why when the political party was formed, like the way things are going in the country and the way they think the leadership is doing, they are not satisfied. That's why they come with a political party. If at all at that point, they really wanted to support the incumbent, you don't even need to form a political party. You just simply go and join, help them improve on their manifestos. The points that you have that they don't have, you go and help them out, introduce your idea to them, make their policies and manifestos look better and stronger and help them out. But you cannot just form a political party because you feel the current leadership is not going on a good direction, and you think he's not the person who can take this country to higher heights, and you form a political party and then all around turn around again and say, hey, we want to form partnership with you because we feel that's the only way to move this country forward. So people,
I mean, it's just like I'm for coming together and help build the nation, but you cannot just say we are supporting this person or align with this person because we think he is the best guy for the job, and then 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, you said that we must all come together and take this person out. What has changed in this person? What did the president? What did he do in the last couple of last 1 year or so? That made him so much of a spin in this kind of direction. So it has to be. It shows how opportunist our leaders are.
Absolutely.
I mean, CA being a young organization with young minded leaders, to see them kind of flip-flopping on a leadership issue like this, trust me, it says a lot.
Definitely.
It says a lot. It tells that we are still not there. And these same political folks who are coming out, they are the same as the ones that are there.
Yes. Absolutely.
You put these people there in the get-go, they're gonna be as even worse.
Yeah.
Because it's showing the same trend that these folks are in there for themselves.
Right.
Because they're not sticking to their guns.
Right.
I don't know whether people forget, whether people don't know that there are videos out there, whether they don't know that we are in the age of social media. Anything you talk about could be brought back.
Absolutely.
Somebody sent an interview of Dr. And then where he was so critical about the president yesterday. And I was listening to it. I'm like, this cannot be. I mean, what has changed?
Right.
But again, this is a typical Gambian ways. That's why I always say in this platform and other places, if we don't change ourselves, our country will not change.
It won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are just circumnavigating around the issue. The issue is us. We're talking about corruption. The corruption is us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's why our leaders are like that. They say the leaders are representation of their people.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not that leaders are the ones who are doing all these things, but these sub-leaders from different parties, they are all identical of what we have.
Absolutely.
So it's just a matter of who is worse than who, or who is better than who.
Right.
So I think it's highly important now for us, especially young folks, to know that just because somebody looking young and speaking eloquently and calling themselves as educators doesn't really make them a good leader.
Right.
Yeah. Most great leaders are not that even educated.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They just have a good vision, a good vision in the mindset of the direction that they're gonna lead, and that made them successful. Right. And they study firm on their mission. But if you're worrying about if I am tough on crime, I would hurt somebody and they will not vote for me. Just like how this administration is doing.
Right.
Crime. If I try to, fight corruption, guess what? The people that I'm working with, they're gonna turn against me.
Right.
Have public support. I want to stay in this power for long. So you are signed away from something that is more important, and you are more careful about something that is for your individual benefit.
Right.
So this is why Africa, we're still where we are.
Exactly.
Otherwise, all these crimes going on in the country, all these illegal guns and drugs coming,
right,
this could be stopped by the government.
Absolutely.
All these activities going on, illegal activities could be stopped if you have a leader
Mm-hmm.
who can look in people into their eyes and even supporters and
Right.
tell, listen, I think you guys are doing wrong. You are a minister who has embezzled funds. You go to jail.
Absolutely.
I don't care about your support. I care about the country.
Exactly.
But we don't have that leader.
That's
Anytime
right.
he's looking for support,
Right.
if I hurt Sam, maybe I will lose Sam and his people. If I love Karton Famara, or I try to say something against the mishap that Famara did in his ministry, I will lose that person and the support. So I rather sit down and see those things happening so that I can build support and stay in power longer.
Right.
This is the problem that we haven't solved yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It needs patriotism. It needs somebody with conscious mind, somebody who is looking out for the country.
Absolutely.
And once we have that leadership, then things will be punishable. Crimes will be deterred, and the government officials will be more accountable because they know they're going to be investigated with any crimes committed. And then they will be careful of government's properties, and then there are the things that are under them.
Right.
But we don't have that leadership. Everything na bad in kacha, or if hey, Mr. President, you're gonna lose their their support. The whole region will turn against you because he's influential. Yeah, the person is influential, but if he embezzled money or he did some corruption type of thing, that needs to be defended.
Yeah.
So these are the problems we are having.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And now a young person like Dr. Cisse and his CA folks have to be perambulating or circumnavigating or flip-flopping on issues to the point that they come and say they're forming an alliance with a government that they criticize.
Right.
Something has to either be changing in that government or be changing in them.
Right.
Maybe they were not true to us in the beginning, what they're saying. Or the government has been improved on something that we cannot even imagine. That blows our mind out.
Right.
It gotta be one thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Or maybe
so we can
does the CA also, is there any opportunity that he could work with other oppositions? Maybe that could be reasons why he could not work with other opposition political parties. So maybe the best way to for him or the CA is to align themselves with the ruling party.
Yeah, but then
and then make issues. Maybe yeah. So these are all speculations that we don't know yet because there is something that they are interested. It's not just helping the president, but there is something that CA is also looking for, to keep the party alive.
Yeah, but then what I said, my first comment was that CA must be sinking, because a sinking boat will grab onto anything.
Right.
Just stop sinking. So if you're losing your key people,
right.
Dr. Cisse being the leader, he already has a credibility issue based on the accusations that came.
Right.
So in order to survive, you have to lean onto somebody.
Right.
Okay, maybe they couldn't lean onto UDP because UDP has a principle.
Right.
Maybe they couldn't lean onto SFL because there will be a competition issue there, ego issue there.
Right.
They cannot they cannot lean up to DOI because DOIs are super principle.
Principles, right.
So somebody, a party that is kind of don't have any idea, clueless party that we have that is in power is NPP. So those people, they have clueless folks. We all know that.
Right.
And they will welcome anybody.
In fact, some people say they have more or less the same principles like in PDOIS. So, in fact, many people are even suggesting that the CA should work with the PDOIS since they have the same principle. Or Dr. Cisse could even join the PDOIS, so that when Khalifa retired, he could become one of those
because
leaders.
These people think they're educated and smarter. So somebody, you said you're smart, somebody is smart. Like PDOIS also have brains there. So you cannot come and conquer there.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
if you see a gap, people
Mhm.
like Busano is in a party where you have, like I said, a bunch of clueless folks,
Right.
guy and other people. So you are trying to fit in there because you have this doctor title or this mentality of being educated, and these people
Mhm.
are less educated. There's a vacuum that you see, and
Right.
maybe when you get into that vacuum, you can make a headway.
Mhm.
You understand the game plan. So
Right.
that's
Right.
what I'm assuming from my head. Because the
Okay.
reason why CA will not go to other parties will
Right.
be a challenge. PDOIs come there, they tell you, hey, take your time. You see the debate between Khalifa and the Dr. Cisse, how tense what that was.
Right.
You go to ASAP Val, ASAP will say, hey, take a break. I've prosecuted, Castillo and other folks. So now I'm seasoned in what I do.
Right.
You go to UDP say, hey, take a break. We've been
All right.
in existence for 20 something years. We brought the agenda down. So
Exactly.
ego problem, and then the problem of becoming somebody.
Right.
This is why I think MPP, yeah, like we all see, people have left there, Fawaka Tombong and other people left there and become relevant there.
Right.
Okay, they had an issue with Jamie and become relevant there. So I guess that was an eye opener to CA to try to get in there and see maybe they can become relevant.
Yeah.
And then maybe with that relevant, they might stay there forever, or nobody
Right.
they're gonna
Exactly.
come out. Yeah. So it is a political game.
It is.
But I don't, if I were CA, a government that is like this,
Mhm.
that we don't know where things are gonna head from here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think associating yourself with that would be something that probably would be a big risk.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
already with the protests that happen here with the Gambian, the lives of the Gambians right now, how it is
Mhm.
going, and with all the pressure mounting on this administration, Dr. Sise cannot come and save them and him
Right.
and his team.
Right.
So they either, when there's gonna be going down, they either all gonna go down together.
Mhm.
That would be my assumption. But we can let some so come
Yeah.
in and we can circle around this.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Sam.
Well, thank you both. Thank you. Yep, I wanted to listen first and see what you guys talking about, and before I jump in there. But it sounds like it's a very interesting topic based on
Yes.
what you put on the agenda as well. So, yeah, political parties definitely, Gambia is at a very critical stage, and we really need to save our country. I'm not sure, I'm not sure what is the strategy of the political parties moving forward, but we need to do something. So Dr. Caesar's move, or CA's move to join the ruling party, is you can look at it from different angles. There could be advantages, there could be disadvantages, and I want to get into a little bit of that. Some people can look at it as they are desperate. That's why they joined the government. And some people can look at it as, well, you know what? They want to show who they are and what they can do. So, and the only way they can do it, since they've never been in government before, is to really join Barrow's government and set a stage and make a difference there. And in looking at that too, an example is, when my Fati was in the government, everybody, even though in Barrow's government in those days, we blamed everybody for everything except my Fati, for outstanding job that he did in the security, in the interior ministry. He stood out. He was very outstanding. He did his job very well. I commended him for that. Maybe a CA wants to come and do something like that, so that at the end of this, or when they get out of this government, whenever that is, they can stand out. They can say, see what we did. We went in there not to join Barrow for any political reasons. We joined Barrow to really come and prove to you what we can do. And this is an example of what we will do when we become president, or when we become a ruling party. So, and things like that. And I am sure when things like this happen, usually there is always a behind the scene talk first before people know anything. And those behind the scene talks does not always come out 100%. We don't know what is all inclusive in all of this, but I'm sure there's got to be some kind of agreement where the president can agree with them. Yes, you can join us. We want you to join us and come. Let's put our hands together and move our country forward. And of course, CAE will also say, well, when we join you, there's got to be negotiation somewhere. When we join you, this is what we'd like to do. This is what we want to do. You know, you got to give us a chance to come and show you what we can do and show the Gambian people what we can do. You know, it could go that route. And in that case, if there's a mutual agreement there, the president agrees to welcome them to his party. And they also agree that they're going to join this party because they want to stand out. They want to make a difference. They want to come in and show Gambian people what they can do based on the assignment given to them. If they are assigned to take a ministry or they're assigned to be anything, whatever they are, they want to prove to Gambian people what they can do. I know, I don't know that Dr. Cisse worked in the government anywhere before other than working in a college. I don't know if he had any other position, but this will be his opportunity to go and show Gambian people what he can do based on his 10-point agenda that he said. And I'm sure that also will be shared with the government, with the president, that if we join you, we got to look at my 10-point agenda as well and see what we can do and incorporate into what you're currently doing in the development of the Gambia. So there's got to be some mutual agreements that we don't know yet. But the key thing is time will tell. We are all going to find out one way or the other. Sooner or later, we will find out what is the motive behind all this. And we'll find out what, if any position given to CA in the government, we're going to find out what they can do. We will see their work, whether good or bad. If it's good, they present themselves that way. That's when they can turn around and tell Gambian people during the next election, they can say, this is why we joined the government, because we want to stand out. We want to show you what we can do. And those are just examples of what we're going to do moving forward. So vote for me. They can go that route. I don't know that they've not abolished their party to join NPP. I think it's more like they joined the government to work together on mutual grounds. But at the same time, it's an opportunity for Gambians to look at it and see what is going to happen moving forward. If they are entrusted with any position, any government position, we all need to open our eyes and see what they will bring to the table, what they're going to do. Yes, one person cannot change the government. Only the president can change everything in there. But that one person's responsibility in the role that they assigned becomes critical. What are they going to do? Because we've seen every minister. We've talked in the past, we've talked about a finance minister, what's been happening in finance, what's been happening in trade, what's been happening in fisheries department, what's been happening in tourism industry, what's been happening in agriculture industry. So we need to see, and of course, what's been happening in the interior ministry when my Fati was there. We've all seen that in the Gambia, and every, maybe not necessarily every Gambian will agree, but every Gambian will can really testify that when my Fati was interior ministry, he has made a difference. He's made some kind of difference, and the difference were positive in my eyes, in my opinion, my analysis. The difference were very positive compared to what we've seen since he left. So what is CA bringing to the table? I don't know. Like I said, time will tell. I want to reserve all the judgments now. It's too quick to make a judgment. I want to reserve the judgment and sit down and watch. And like I said, time will tell. We want to see what they were going to bring to the table. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to see what they're going to bring to the table. I mean, that part is obvious. We don't know that, what they're going to bring to the table, but our analysis are based on what has been said before about this government and what has changed, what caused this. Is it out of desperation, like some people would say? Is it out of the fact that some people are falling apart from the party? Is it out of the accusation that has been said about Dr. Cisse's aligned with, going and helping Barrow during the election? All those things, rumors that has been said, has proven that there is something going on. And that's what we're trying to, if you smell a coffee, we got to really look for a coffee where it is in the room. Okay, because we need to understand what is going on, what has led to this. Anybody can come to the president and say, we want to work together. Even UDP folks, even Doi folks. But the trend that this has been gradually happening during the election, before the election, during the election, after the election, it has showcased there is something in the works from this particular party, especially from their leader.
Right.
So we need to question things. In Africa, if we don't question things, we're gonna be making the same mistakes over and over again.
Yeah.
We need to ask questions to find answers. And then asking questions doesn't mean you are skeptical or you are not optimistic. It is just means you are so concerned and you want to learn. You want to learn so much so that tomorrow nobody comes and take advantage of you. Right. So in this position, what's the story of CA is a learning process, because they are young people. They were hopeful when they came out. We had Ismaila on this platform so many times, and he consistently blamed this government for not having the audacity. What has changed in this government? What has changed?
Yep. That's why I said I'm sure there's a lot of things that happened behind the scene that we didn't know.
We didn't know.
Even though there has been speculations, there's been rumors, but and of course, where there's rumors, there's got to be some truth to something.
Absolutely.
Just like when they say where there's smoke, there's fire. So
when there's
something there. So that's why I said there's got to be some things that happen behind the scene before we got to this point. But the critical thing here is now that CA's role in the government. What role are they going to play? And this that's why I said also there are disadvantages, there are advantages to it. Advantages to it is to come in and prove yourself and prove the Gambian people why you run for presidency, the office of the president, and why you want people to vote for you in the future. That's where the proof based on what assignment he has and what they're going to do. Now, the other part, the flip part of that is the disadvantage is it can backfire. It can backfire if they come to the government and just join the party, business as usual. That is going to backfire on them big time, and which means at the end of this president's term, during next election, CA may want to run for themselves. If they want to run for themselves again as a candidate, a presidential candidate, this is where people are going to make that judgment and going to make the decision. They're going to say, well, when they were in the government, this is what they did. Or when they were in the government, it was business as usual. We have not changed anything in this. So it can backfire on them, and people are not going to vote for them. So I'm sure they should think Dr. Cisse is smart. I think he will think about what he's going to do, what all of this is going to do to him, either good or bad. He's going to think about all of them and weigh them with his party. I'd like to give him the opportunity to the president as well, and say, you know what, if the president is truly looking for change and wants to change the country and wants to do something better for the country, just like he made changes of the cabinet during his last cabinet nominations, we're gonna see that somebody is gonna go. He's got to let somebody go to have CA take over that position and show the Gambian people what they can do. And it's got to be somebody that's not performing and actually wasting Gambian taxpayers' money. So if you want to progress, you want to change something, you've got to change something. You want a different result, you've got to change something. It cannot be the same people going over and over, and people are not seeing any result in agriculture, no results in tourism, no results in fisheries, no results in government, local government, no results in education department. I mean, if you think about all of those, there are different areas. That's why I said there's got to be some talk behind the scene before this part, but I want to wait and see what happened. Definitely, I'm going to keep my eyes open and ears open and see what's coming next, before I make a judgment. Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Before you make a judgment. So that's fine. I mean, yeah. So what do you think, Muhammad?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first time doctor and president meet, I think the body language too. I think they will all be clicking back to what they say to each other. You know, when the president Barrow was asking, "Where is Dr. Sise? Where was he?"
Yeah.
Dr. Sise. And when the Dr. Sise was saying, "The president don't have the pedigree," I'm sure that first handshake, you know, all of their minds will go into those statements. You
Yeah.
know, but that is it. Now
Politics,
we all
yeah.
had the president when he came back from New York. He was genuinely calling for oppositions to come together and work together. Now, who is going to take this lead in calling the opposition? Does the president want the oppositions to come in one by one to him to join hands to work together? Or is it him that should call all the oppositions to come together and put their political difference aside and then work together? So I think in this case, if the president really meant what he's really saying, then I believe the action should come from him. You know, that step should come from him. Have a 1 day, 2 day convergence with political parties all together, you know, at a hotel, you know, ask them, engage them, you know, see what you're going to benefit from them. You know, obviously, some political parties have some ideas in one or two agendas. We don't even see what the NPP's agenda is during the presidential election. I have not seen their manifesto. Have you seen one? I've not seen it. So I think this is an opportunity if the president really wants to bring us together to do it. And then also to take that leadership role that, like Sawana just said, when something like issues happen in our community, like corruption, we want the president to come out, you know, hold those people accountable, you know, whether you are going to temporarily suspend them or you're going to take a leadership role. But at least we need to see that leadership, you know, engage the police, make sure, challenge the police to do their job and report back to you. You know, if we see those kind of steps taken, then people will know that the president is really interested in fighting corruption, we're interested in fighting crime. It's not just writing a press release from the office of the president or the government spokesperson, you know, writing a press release. We want the president talk about it, you know, either, you know, at a meeting or either just make a statement on top of the press release. Those are the kind of things that we want to see the press take the lead, you know, to take and, make sure things are done in the right way, that way they should. But if they are overlooking them, you know, we've seen the auditors report that just came out that implicated a lot of people who have served the government before. Some of them are still serving. Those unretired, impressed, you know, millions of dollars is, you know, it's in the hands of people and it's not been retired up till now. You know, something has to be done. And this is why we expect the police to take a lead too, you know, engage the government, engage those leaders, hold them accountable. Because this is government money that has been given to these civil servants, you know, to do whatever they need to do, that their position, the privileges, their position gave them. But after that, they need to retire back to the government. We cannot continue to see these millions of dollars is missing out all the time, you know, and then nothing is being done about it. It doesn't tell well for our government. It doesn't tell well for the leadership of President Barrow, because this new government came about because we thought there was dictatorship and there was a lot of corruption going on and mismanagement. So now, if we really meant, if we really want to stand by our words in changing the leadership, I think we should do that. You know, take up that leadership challenge and then make sure things are done the right way they should. So these are some of the things that I'm really want to know whether the president really wants to really engage the oppositions or not. And when some of his supporters make statement like Dudu Sano, who had like bread costing $6, I think some of those things should also be dispelled by the president and his team, because Du is a political advisor to the government. So some of those things happening, I know they're supporting the president, they're trying to support his agenda, they're trying to dispel some of the rumors going on in town. But I think when they also step the boundary, somebody should be able to tell them, no, this is not, you know, the time to talk about this kind of thing, or maybe correct them, you know, those kind of things. But I think Dr. Cisse, just like Sam said, I think we just wait and see. Something is going to come out very soon. Either Dr. might even decide to give up his position as a CA leadership and decide to stay with the government and continue helping them, build up their manifestos or bring new ideas into the team. Because I heard some people even speculating that maybe Dr. Cisse might even take up, from President Barrow, when he decided to retire or give up from NGP. And also for the fact that, December is also approaching. Very soon political party will start doing their congresses. So all of this could be a package lying down somewhere that we don't know. Until time will tell, then we'll know exactly what is going on. But I know the local government elections are coming. So, and also, CA trying to keep their head above the water by aligning themselves with a party that might give them relevance, and then party that could also, incorporate them in whatever they do in terms of their political activities. So until we know exactly what's happening, all we can do is just speculate. But so far, so good. I think CA has impressed a lot of people in the very beginning when they emerged. But with these recent happenings, key members of the founding fathers of the party dropping out, and then, it doesn't tell well. And then I think it's going to affect the support base of the political party. So this means they have a lot of work to do. And I hope this alliance with MPP will help them, convince a lot of people that what people think is not what the CA is actually trying to do. So let's wait and see.
Right. Let's wait and see is the point right here. Yeah, it doesn't bother us. Like most of you guys said, it doesn't bother us waiting and see. The only thing here is that as Gambians, as concerned citizens, we need to questions and we need answers, and we also need to learn. That's the key here, because people look up to us, and if we don't conduct ourselves in certain way, or if we're doing things, around the circle, it doesn't tell well. So at this point, the local election is coming. So I think we can look at that and see which political party has an edge, on why, and also the situation of the country in terms of rising cost in food and gas and other things. How is that affecting our people, and how is that affecting this government? So is there something that could be done about that? So we can look at the local election that is coming a few months from now and analyze what are the things that we think probably will come out, and then who has the edge.
Yeah, well, I'll go here, but before I start that, I just want to kind of elaborate on one area that you both mentioned, which is the leadership. Because as Farmer said, the president called on to political parties to come join. If CA is the first to join, there may be others coming to join. There may not be others. They're definitely not going to be others to join. There are some that are not going to join, only because of, you see, if I was a political party leader and I see that the way this government operates, starting with the president and not holding people accountable, doing the leadership, the real leadership role that I've talked about several times, so many times. I've released audios about leadership, who is a leader, and all of that, with the corruption in our country, with all the things that you said, money missing, internal audit is revealing the reports, sending the reports. Everybody's seeing millions and millions of the losses are being taken away from Gambian people, and nothing has been done about it as far as we know. So, things like that. If I were a political party, do I want to join a government like that or not? Millions. That is a good question. That is going to be a good question some are going to ask. I don't want to be part of a government that is not going to do anything and hold people accountable. There are people being killed in the country. There are money missing all over the place. There's and it's not like thousands or hundreds. These are millions, and yet we have not seen anyone that's been arrested, prosecuted, and put in prison. All of the whole 9 yards, and millions have been missing for over years now. So if that's been happening and nothing's been happening about it, well, some political parties are not going to join that kind of government. They want a government that is going to hold themselves accountable so they can hold people accountable. So that's another thing. That's why any party that's going to join there, or any political leader that's going to join the president, they've got to talk behind the scene to make sure if we come in, this is what we want to do, you know, to have some negotiations and have some leverage to be able to do what they can do to change something. But at the end of the day, it all comes to leadership. That's what we don't have. We don't have that great leader that holds himself accountable, be able to hold people accountable and not looking into anybody's eyes. Just do the right thing. That's it. Anyway, so moving from there, moving forward, local government elections coming. I think it's, I've said this in some audios before presidential campaign, and in the past years as well. I suggested this. I like for Gambian people. We know Gambian people are easily fooled. We allow people to come in and tell us all kinds of nonsense that they're going to do that they don't do when they get there. You know, if you fool me once, shame on you. You fool me twice, then shame on me. You know, we Gambians should know that. You know, political parties or political leaders come in and talk and talk and talk and talk, bribe people and give them money and give them sugar, give them rice, give them all. That is not the point. That is today's problem. We want the future of the Gambia. That's what we need to look at. So every candidate that is going to stand for a position, even though this is local government elections, is going to be for local government, mostly in the area council. So every candidate, I think, not only they're going to do their campaigns, and of course they're going to have some people that are going to support them from the president's level to support them to campaign for them. The most important thing for Gambians to do is really do your comparison, do your analysis, and let's call for a debate between candidates. Let's see who has the character, the morality, the trustworthiness, honesty, integrity, all of that, and the experience, and what they're going to bring to the table. They need to be able to tell Gambian people that for Gambians to vote them, not just say, well, this is what we're going to do, blah, 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 and allow the president to campaign for them, give them some money on the side, take it. That's all nonsense. To me, what is this person bringing to the table? What are you going to change when you go to area council? What can you do to make a difference? That's what we need, because like I always say, Gambia is 57 years old since independence, and we are 57 years behind time. We need people that are going to take us from point A and move us along the way to get to point B. So we can't waste any more time. We should not waste our time on any candidate that is just going to be there, a yes sir person. We want someone that's going to make a difference. So I think at this point, I don't know the candidates. I don't know who's going to be where. I don't care what party they come from. What I care is someone that's going to get into area council, make a difference, really control area council funds, and be able to utilize those funds and help develop their communities. Gambia we don't have parks, recreation centers for children. Our markets are a disaster. You know, flood in Brikama market, flood everywhere. I mean, dirty water, contaminated water is getting into people's stuff. I mean, and there is a lot. I know Bensouda and Rahim Malik Low have done a great job. I will commend them for what they've done. They've tried very well in their municipalities, but they need to have people under them that will help them along the way to get to every municipality and every area council to be able to do something different, to be able to get different results, and not just collect taxes from people and nobody knows where the taxes are going and markets are flooding. I mean, the rainwater is all over. A good one single bathroom around the market is very rare to see. If it's available, it's very filthy, unsanitary. But places that even animals should not go in, that's where human beings are walking into. I mean, these are, I mean, we've passed that. Come on, man. We've passed that time. We should pass that time. We should look like we are decent people. Somebody needs to come and do something for us. And that's what I expect area councilors to work with their mayors to get some development in our communities. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Mvamara, he can come in on area council and then election coming up and
yeah, Sam said it all. Basically, this coming election is going to be very, very interesting because we need people with action-oriented, people who are able to deliver. You know, this is what people are asking for right now because everywhere you go, and it's not like business as usual anymore, where somebody will just come and occupy spaces, just do your political thing and all those things. And then, you know, all people want to see is development because local governments, their responsibility is very clear. They are collecting taxes from people, so those taxes should be invested back to the communities. We don't deserve to have very bad roads which are not pliable and bad markets, flooding everywhere. I mean, these are places where the money should be spent, you know. So and I think these local government elections should be competition of ideas and people who are very, very, you know, action oriented and they deliver. You know, this is what we want to see. It doesn't matter which political party you belong to. You know, we want to see people who are ready to serve the people. You know, and this is what, you know, we're looking for in the next elections. And then we have seen that happening. You know, KMC is delivering, Banjul is delivering, and of course even Brikama Area Council is delivering. You know, we have seen unprecedented projects happening even in the West Coast region, even though West Coast region is very big. And then there are a lot of problems in West Coast, just like Banjul or just as in KMC. But, you know, we have seen all of these councils and the municipalities doing their bit in the recent. You know, in Banjul, starting from Basse, we have seen the market when it was born. All the stakeholders come together, you know, the ruling party, the political party, everybody work together. So we have seen a lot of changes in Basse. You know, the new market has been put up. You know, there are a lot of other small projects within that is happening. You go to LRR, CRR. I'm not sure about what's going on in CRR. I'm not very acquainted with developments over there. But in LRR, we have seen some, you know, structures put up as well in the market areas. Come to West Coast region, which myself, you know, I'm from the West Coast region. You know, even though, you know, Sirifo is doing a lot, you know, in terms of trying to make some changes. In my own community of Bruford, since 1952, when we had a market, we don't have any new market coming up recently, but we have seen Brikama Area Council recently. They have partnered with the community of Bruford and some other philanthropies. You know, we came up with, you know, I think a total of over $4 million trying to get a new market built, and which Brikama Area Council provided, you know, $2 million. And then also the Bruford diaspora also come together. We have almost donated about $500,000, and then other philanthropists also donated. So even Brikama Area Council, when you compare them with KMC and others, they are not doing that much project, but they're also coming up, you know. So it's going to be very interesting. And I hope people will put politics aside and vote for a candidate that is ready to deliver. That way, you know, the suffering of our people in these councils.
So you're saying not to vote on party line, but to vote on the right candidate? Yeah,
I think we should just vote on the right candidate, somebody who is ready to deliver. We should just avoid party politics in these council elections. I know we cannot do away with party politics because people sitting there are from political parties. But I mean, if you are from NPP and you realize that what the UDP guy is doing is a good job, you know, and they definitely know that, you know, I mean, supporting that candidate will give you, you know, go for it. I mean, if you are UDP and you see that the MPP guy coming up is somebody who is qualified and you believe that you're going to deliver, vote for the person. I think that's what we need, because now we want to see competition of ideas, competition of manifestos, people who are ready to, you know, bring development, you know, to salvage the suffering that our people are going through. You know, our markets are so bad. And I hope Brikama Area Council will improve on that, because Brikama is our administrative capital. You know, but what we are seeing in Brikama when floods comes in, you know, it's an eye show. You know, the fish market is an eye show. We want the council to concentrate on this in the next election. Make sure that, you know, people's waste are, you know, collected, you know, our mothers don't deserve to be working in dirty waters or even selling in dirty waters. No matter how much money the council collects in a year, if they are next door, where their office is, the next door market is not in a proper place, no matter what they are doing in the area council, people will not see it because that areas need improvement. We need to also see enforcement of laws, you know, and especially environmental laws, which the NEA has an overarching, responsibility in terms of forcing the councils to also do their job. You know, there is waste all over. The Gambia is becoming a wasteland, and this does not only stop to Brikama area council. You go to KMC, there's a lot of waste over there. You go to Banjul, it's the same thing. So I think we need to improve on these areas, and then we want to see that the way they are doing on infrastructural development and all those things. We need to have a proper policy on waste management as well, so that we can deliver. But so far so good. I think this election is going to be very competitive, and then we are going to see a lot of people coming up, which are going to be very young and dynamic people, and they'll be interested in running for this position. So it's going to be a very hot cake. So nobody knows where it is going to get cut or damaged. But then,
the National Assembly election was a surprise.
Yeah, it was a surprise.
As we saw, the president this time around and his MPP are vowing to get more seats. Do you see that happening now? Based on the fact that UDP had proven that they can really win in critical areas, especially these two mayor positions,
right?
The mayor and the KMC, and
right.
They are vowing to make sure that they can show that.
Absolutely. They have proven themselves. They have really proven themselves these last few years that they have been in power. That has tremendous achievement, in terms of infrastructural development, the waste management strategies that they're trying to bring in. We have seen the dump trucks, the waste trucks, for example. We have also seen, some other activities that they've been doing, in Tolo. But, it's Gambian politics. The incumbent always have a way out of, going about their own thing. And we have seen, a lot of...
the incumbent has a way of going about their own thing. What had happened to the parliamentary election? The incumbent were stunned. I mean, they think it's gonna be a sweep. So that speaks volume. That tells you that it's not like people are always going for, the person who has the most money or the person who has the most power. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, people are very,
so
very.
They're probably also looking at the candidate, the person who can put a winning candidate.
Yeah,
that is very important because, and then also Gambian politics is polarized when it comes to the tribe. Right. I noticed one thing during this parliamentary election, that if you put a person, if a person who's a person in the regions that was dominant by a particular tribe, you put that person there, no matter what party that person is, most likely will pull up, because Gambians, we are polarized when it comes to tribe.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So these are strategies that I think has worked for UDP in the last president election, especially in Busumbala and then Talenting, where the that July the person who was a candidate he has a Jola background won, and he was in UDP. So those strategies actually work, even though in the presidential campaign, they the mobile force and other came and then tried to paint UDP candidate as tribal. That didn't fly.
No.
The local election, with the parliamentarian election. So I think, in my own opinion, and I'm not saying this because of anything, because I'm not affiliated with none of these parties, but I think it will come down to strategy, and putting the right candidate, as for these parties to become very competitive, because it is the individual and then the tribal lines. I mean, like the tribal ways that people vote.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of weight.
Mhm.
Although money talks, of course, you can probably influence, voters. But what we have seen so far that works well in the parliamentarian election was that they put in the right person candidate that
Mhm.
has dominant representation in that region, and
Right.
so having to put the right one who people can believe that will represent them most. If you put a
Absolutely.
weak candidate, no matter if you are a ruling party, you most likely could lose. So in my own assumption, I think the KMC seat and then the Banjul seat, as for in mayor seat, it's gonna be a challenge.
Very big
The
challenge.
fact that those mayors already built their base
Oh
and
yeah.
they are well loved and liked.
Very strong.
As
Yeah.
far as other local elections, I think it will come down to strategy and the right candidate. And
Right candidate. Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
so this is why I always ask for a debate. I want a debate. I wanted a debate. I've called for debate years ago for presidential candidates and going down to all of these candidates. And now we're at that point. I know last year they did that. Well, during the last election time, I remember seeing Party Network did that debate, conducted a debate for some candidates, for presidential candidates. But I think it's very important to do it now for every candidate that's seeking public position, because people like the mayor of KMC and Banjul, they have the track record. They have the track record to go to the people and say, look at what I've done. Look at what Banjul was before, how KMC was before. And when I came, what did I do? And I think it's no brainer. For Gambian people, I don't believe in, I know there are times for people, I don't believe in fixing something that's not broken. Banjul mayor's job is not something that, in my mind, in my opinion, that's what I'm saying. If we were to vote, I will vote for that one. Rahim Malik Loader stay. Same thing as KMC. I'll vote for Bansuda to stay there because they've done a great job, a tremendous job. They've contributed a lot to their communities. And Gambian people have seen their track record. Their records will speak for themselves. I think that's good enough. Yes, there are people that are going to compete. There are competitors that are coming to compete with them there. But those are very critical that people look at and see, well, what the competitors are coming. Yeah, some will come with great ideas. They will come with ideas. Ideas are always good. But this person has been there and already shown the people what they can do. I would convince people, if I have to help or campaign for anyone, I'm going to campaign for these two to remain in their seats and continue to work what they're doing and continue to do what they're doing there. Because Gambia, we need development. We don't want to go backwards. And one important thing I'm going to say, I've said this numerous times, that is the government need to take cash out of people's hands. I think the National Assembly need to pass a law for local governments also to take cash out of people's hands. Some area councils are not developing because people that are collecting cash, that cash end up in somebody's pocket, or some of it end up in somebody's pocket. If we take cash out of people's hands and you don't see anybody going to anybody's shop asking for them to pay their taxes, let the people pay their taxes and let everything be done electronically. Let it be done in the bank. If they pay the taxes at the bank, this will ensure that they collect 100% of all the taxes. And they will make sure that, this will also make sure that a single butut do not go into anybody's pocket because it's all paid at the bank. And once it gets paid to the bank, then the bank statement shows the proof. It will all be reconciled and they can use their funds appropriately and develop their communities. All the things that we all talked about, all the development that is necessary, things that they need to do for their communities. So really taking cash out of people's hands will help them get to that. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I agree. The taking cash out of people's hand is a key here in making sure that accountability, we accountable of things we do as government officials or as leaders. So that is important. But here, the situation right now with all the difficulties in the Gambia, rising, food price, gas, people are, struggling to put bread in the on the table. Families are finding it difficult to survive. Crime rate, resulting to crime rate, and all these things. What are the key things that definitely need to be done to make sure that we mitigate these problems? Because it looks like, things are getting worse each and every day. The pay rates are not going up. The expenses are high. If you don't have somebody in the diaspora to assist you, you can even barely make a living. So what is it that we need to focus on as a country, and our government need to focus on to help mitigate this problem?
Corruption.
Things are not really easy.
Yep, corruption. That's it. That's the key word. Corruption, corruption, and corruption. Because when I proposed taking cash out of people's hands, it's been a couple of years back. If the government had done that at that time, all of these millions that the auditors are saying that was missing would not have been going anywhere, because no one would have had any access to that, to any money. So think about all of those millions still in the country that belongs to the state, the Republic of the Gambia.
Right.
Think about what can all be done there. I mean, those millions could be used for a lot of things. All the things that you mentioned, they could have given people a pay increase, a better pay increase with a minimum wage that I've talked about years again, for a number of years. They could start something. It's just that Gambia is just like, I'm trying to think, it's just like, we don't have any management style of how we manage our funds. Funds in every department, in all the departments, not everyone is dishonest. There's a lot of honest people in the government. I'll say that. A lot of honest people there. But there are a few individuals that are killing this country, that are ruining our country. They're taking our funds away and misusing them, mishandling them, and nothing has been done about that. That is the corruption that needs to stop. And if the president really work on that and take cash out of people's hands, so no one has access to any cash, everything gets done in the bank. Bank transaction, show your receipt and you're done. You do not give a dime to anybody else. Okay. If that happens, the government will be able to hold a lot of money and use those funds for our people. And then the National Assembly also be able to say, all right, well, we know now nothing has been missing. Everything comes to the government. What did you do with the money? Be able to hold the government accountable. But right now it's like, millions going here, millions going there, millions missing here, millions missing there, millions missing there. Nobody has done anything. If they're working on something, I don't know, but I have not heard anybody being arrested, and I've not seen someone that's been prosecuted and put in prison. And these are things that you announce for the Gambian people to know that, yes, 7 million was missing here. So-and-so was arrested, prosecuted, and now he's in prison. And we've confiscated everything that belonged to him, all of his assets. The government is going to sell them and bring that money back to the country. If the government set that example and announce it, let people know what is happening, then they will take it seriously. Until then, and until cash is taken out of people's hands, this corruption is going to stay. And that's what we need to do. Corruption is our number one problem. We need to kill that first.
So you're saying that with corruptions, all these things would be in place. We will have a better economy, and people will be able to afford food and so forth. But what about the raising of the wages? I mean, like if people have enough money.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's why I said they needed to introduce minimum wage. They need to pay people more. People need to be paid more. Police need to be empowered and equipped with tools and technology for them to do the job to fight crimes. So all of this will happen if they have the funds. But if funds are coming and they're using it, and some people are taking it on their own, one person disappearing with millions, I mean, that's a problem. The police cannot be funded. Our hospitals cannot have medicine. Schools are going to be dilapidated. Roads in some areas, the markets, that's why they all the same way they are. And this is why we're in that big, much of a problem. And we're going to continue to take loans and loans and loans and loans that even our grandchildren cannot pay. It's just so sad. And that's what Gambia needs to stay away from.
So lack of fund is what is causing all that.
Well, not like in total, I would say corruption.
Okay.
Corruption will be the inclusive word that includes all of this, you know, in leadership. It all starts from the leader. So leadership is the key here. Because if you and I were the leader, if Famara was the leader, the way we're talking here, the way we're thinking, things wouldn't be going this way. We would have made some changes. We would have done something to correct the situation. Okay, so that's where it is. It all boils down to the leader and the system that he is going to run with. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Mfamara, your final words.
Yeah, just like Sam said, corruption is our main issue in Gambia because it's like it's happening in every institutions now. You hear the judiciary, you hear the courts, you hear NAWEC, you hear the other side, you hear the office of the president, you hear from the, it's all coming, it's coming from everywhere. And you don't know who is actually policing these institutions, who is holding them accountable, who are holding these people accountable that are misusing our funds. This is where we are losing a lot of money. Gambia is a small country, with all the development aids and grants that comes to our country and the money that we are making ourselves, you don't see where the money is going. Poverty is so prevalent everywhere you go. So we need a leadership that is going to hold people accountable. Just like Sam said, if you hear that one person responsible for corruption in one particular institution is dragged to court, he's been charged, his properties have been seized, he's been taken to mile 2, then you will set an example. Maybe somebody else will think twice,
right,
before engaging into those kind of things. We have heard all these per diem scandals, nothing is happening. It's just like a business as usual. So when one person goes away free, the other person goes away free. So this is where we need the president to take a step, with all this corruption allegation going, even clouds hanging over his head himself, all needs to be cleared. But if 500 million has been paid into his wife's account, and still we're hearing different stories of how that money comes in and how it was spent, we're hearing all that security money that has been used to pay per diems and then still not clear, then obviously you will not be able to hold all the institutions accountable because you yourself, it's not living up to the expectations, So these are some of the things that we need to work on, get money out of people's hand. Then that way, we can be sure that our money is going to be spent somewhere else that is going to be needed when we put our priorities right, Yeah, so I think that is very important. People are so desperate, people are so hungry, and we hear that, even the businessmen are also doing things on their own. You can go today and you find tomorrow is another different price. So there must be a control, when the government claiming that they are not taxing the rice importers are bringing in with low taxation, but why are the prices going high? Just like we've seen from Senegal that, Macky Sall has recruited 1,000 youths that are going to be, enforcing this price control or looking at investigating which business owners are increasing price unnecessarily, So there must be a way that will tell people that the government is serious about this price increase. Yes, it's Ukraine war. Yeah, Ukraine war, COVID-19. Yeah, no, we should go through those excuses now and then start implementing our own interventions and our own things of doing, addressing on the issues, So those are the things.
I don't think COVID-19 is an issue anymore.
Yeah, COVID-19 money has come here. We don't even know where it goes.
Yeah.
With all the hospital equipment they say they're going to buy, people are still struggling in our hospitals.
Where is it? Where is it? Yeah.
So
yeah.
where is the funds? Where did it go?
It's just crazy.
But usually if you see that, there is no, when something happened, either crime or embezzlement or corruption, and it's not able to get prosecuted or identified, the big man, they must be involved.
Yeah, the people
Where in
close
the
to
world.
the power of
The people in
government.
power must be
That's what
involved,
it
because
is.
if they're not involved, they
Yeah.
would be able to investigate and bring
Obviously.
people, to justice. But if
Obviously.
their hands is in it, it will
Yeah.
drag and drag and drag forever. You will never find a culprit.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
So this is what happened to the drugs issue, and
Mhm.
it's also what happened to the drugs that came to the country. People are
Right.
questioning, and this is what happened to the some of these corruption, the passport scandal, the diplomatic passport scandal, you name it.
Right.
Anytime the big guys are involved, we
Nothing
don't get to the bottom of it. But it's this small guy, they will drag him and throw him to the jail easily.
Right.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Sam, your final words.
Yeah, my final word, I'm gonna get off here, but yeah, at the end of the day is leadership in corruption, leadership handling corruption. If we can control that in the country, we will be better off. Gambia really can go without taking loans. We have the resources if we manage them correctly. We can go without loans, but we're not there yet. We need to make a change to be able to get there. So at the end of the day, again, I hold the leaders accountable for not holding themselves accountable and the people that work for them. This is why we are where we are. And until we make a change, until things like that change, we're not going to see any difference. So, I've talked about this a lot of times, different audios, different times, and we are still not where we need to be. We're not where we need to be. And until we make that change, we're not going to see that result. So we are tired of hearing COVID-19 caused this, Ukraine war. Ukraine war didn't affect just Gambia. Very minimal impact on Gambia. Most impact on other countries, surrounding countries, in Ukraine and Russia. Okay, so let's not listen to those excuses. Those are all excuses. We don't want any excuses now. We want results. So if you know that something happened and is continuing to happen, the question is, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit there? You see an army with weapons coming to attack you. Yeah, they're coming, for example. What are you going to do? You can't sit there and say the army is coming, the army is coming, the army is coming. What are you going to do? That's what the people need to ask. That's what we need Gambia. We know all of this happened. It didn't happen in Gambia only. So what are you going to do to change something, to make a difference in people's lives in Gambia? That's what's important. We want results, not excuses.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mvamara, thank you. Definitely.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you all. Yep. Thank
very
you.
much, Sam.
Yep. Good seeing you both.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we catch up next week. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, all viewers. Thank you. That is the end.